Hello hockey fans, Oddman Rush here and welcome back to another video. Since joining the league back in 2008, Pete DeBoer has produced quite the career in the National Hockey League. After all, DeBoer has coached 5 different teams over the last decade and a half. He has won 560 of his almost 1,100 games behind the bench, and he has reached the Stanley Cup Finals on 2 separate occasions. The guy clearly knows how to win hockey games. Despite producing his fair share of success over the last 15 seasons, DeBoer has gained a reputation for being a strong regular season coach, but one who always falls before the final hurdle come playoff time. In fact, given his recent postseason performances, and given the near identical ways in which they have all concluded, it's possible that DeBoer might be cursed, as he has fallen in the Western Conference Finals 4 times in the last 5 seasons, all while coaching 3 different teams during that span. But how has this happened? Why has he suffered the same fate year in, year out, and why is he afflicted with such a curse? Well, let's take a look at his recent journey in the league and try to figure it out, shall we? So in today's video, join me as we explore Pete DeBoer's Conference Finals curse. Now, in order to understand this unusual predicament, allow me to take you back to the 2018-19 NHL season, where Canadian coach Pete DeBoer would return to the San Jose Sharks for his 4th season behind their bench. Having led the Sharks to the Stanley Cup Finals in 2016, and having helped the team return to the postseason every year since, DeBoer was determined to get San Jose over the hump and finally clinch a championship. Thanks to a point-a-game performance from veteran defenseman Brent Burns, impressive contributions from forwards Thomas Hertel and Logan Couture, as well as strong goaltending from netminder Martin Jones, DeBoer and the Sharks would finish 2nd in the Pacific Division with a 46, 27 and 8 record for 101 points in 82 games, the 2nd highest point total of DeBoer's career at the time. Having punched their ticket to the playoffs for the 4th time under DeBoer, the Sharks would keep up the good work during the postseason, as they would win a bitter 7-game series against the Vegas Golden Knights in round 1, despite trailing 3-1 at one point, before another 7-game series against the Colorado Avalanche in round 2 saw the Sharks come out on top once again. However, San Jose's postseason run would come to a premature end, as they were finally eliminated by the eventual Cup champion St. Louis Blues in Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals. Not the outcome that the Sharks wanted, but at least they were bested by the team that won it all, right? Though the Sharks had reached the Final Four once again, and though he had led his team on another deep playoff run, this conference finals loss would start quite the curse for DeBoer, as he would soon find himself in his very own Groundhog Day. After starting the 2019-20 season with the Sharks, and after winning just 15 of his first 33 games of the year, Pete DeBoer would be fired by San Jose on December 11th, 2019, finishing his tenure with a 198, 129 and 34 record in 361 games with the team. His exit from the side wasn't great, and he may not have won a championship, but 4 consecutive playoff berths, 2 conference finals and a Stanley Cup Finals sounds like a pretty solid tenure if you ask me. Despite being relieved of his duties just 2 weeks before Christmas, DeBoer wouldn't take long to find a new gig, as on January 15th, 2020, he was hired as the new head coach of the Vegas Golden Knights, replacing the team's previous head coach Gerard Gallant, who had just been fired earlier that day. God, talk about striking while the iron's hot. Having joined the 4th NHL team of his coaching career, and having been hired by a side that he had eliminated from the playoffs only a few months prior, DeBoer's opening stint in Vegas would go very, very well. Thanks to strong performances from across the roster, and thanks to his coaching style clearly resonating with his players, Vegas would win 15 of their last 22 games of the season, and finish the year 1st in the Pacific with a 39, 24 and 8 record for 86 points in 71 games. Remember, the 1920 season was cut short due to the pandemic, just in case you were wondering why they only played 71 games that year. With the season ended prematurely, and with the postseason starting in early August, DeBoer and the Golden Knights would make the trip to Canada in order to compete in the 2020 playoff bubble. After going 3-0 in the round-robin stage, Vegas would take care of business once the tournament officially began, as they would dispatch the Chicago Blackhawks in 5 games during round 1, before narrowly squeaking out a Game 7 win against the Vancouver Canucks in round 2, despite going up 3-1 in the series. Unfortunately for DeBoer though, history would repeat itself, as the Golden Knights would be eliminated in the Western Conference Finals thanks to a Game 5 loss against the Dallas Stars. Though he had fallen in the penultimate round for the second year in a row, the 2021 season would see DeBoer return to Vegas for his first full season behind the Golden Knights bench, and while the team had fallen before the final hurdle just a few months prior, Vegas would come out swinging and then some. Thanks to high-scoring seasons from Mark Stone and Max Pacioretty, consistent production from Jonathan Marchessault and Shea Theodore, as well as reliable net-minding from Marc-Andre Fleury and Robin Lehner, the Golden Knights would finish second in the Western Conference with a 40-14-2 record for 82 points in 56 games. In fact, Vegas played so well that they finished with the same amount of points as the President's Trophy winning Colorado Avalanche, but they only just missed out on the trophy due to having fewer regulation wins. With Vegas reaching the playoffs yet again, and with the team taking the second seed in the West, DeBoer and the Golden Knights were eager to surpass their prior postseason performance. Thanks to a close 7-game series against Minnesota in round 1 and a Game 6 victory against the President's Trophy Avalanche in round 2, Vegas had reached the Western Conference Finals for the second year in a row. However, Groundhog Day would strike once again, as Vegas would fall to the unlikely Cup finalist Montreal Canadiens in Game 6 of the series. To make matters even worse, 3 of the 6 games would go to overtime, but Vegas would win just 1 of them, so a couple of goals in their favour could have made all the difference in the long run. So just like that, Pete DeBoer had fallen in the conference finals for the 3rd season in a row. The guy had taken 2 different teams to the penultimate round in each of the last 3 seasons, only to fall before the final hurdle every single time. If that's not the definition of infuriating, I don't know what is. Unfortunately for DeBoer though, things were about to take quite the step backwards. The 21-22 season saw the NHL return to relative normalcy and DeBoer behind the bench for another year in Vegas. Though he had led the team to consecutive playoff berths, and though they had reached the Final Four in back-to-back years, third time definitely wasn't the charm. Despite concluding the year with a 43-31-8 record for 94 points in 82 games, the Golden Knights would finish 4th place in the Pacific Division and fail to reach the postseason as a result, their first playoff miss in franchise history since joining the league in 2017. Since they had failed to punch their ticket to the dance, and since they had hit the golf course early for the first time in half a decade, the Golden Knights decided to make a change. On May 16, 2022, Vegas announced that they had relieved DeBoer of his duties as head coach of the Golden Knights, meaning he had finished his tenure with a 98-50-12 record in 160 regular season games. Having been let go by Vegas after a disappointing season, and having missed the playoffs for the first time in 8 years, DeBoer would quickly find a new home in the league, as on June 21st, 2022, DeBoer was named as the new head coach of the Dallas Stars. So thanks to his impressive track record and his consistent postseason success, DeBoer had found a new head coaching job roughly a month after his firing from Vegas. Though he would join the 5th team of his NHL coaching career, and though he would get a fresh start in a new city, unfortunately for DeBoer, old habits would die hard once again. The recent 22-23 season saw DeBoer make the move to Dallas and take his place behind the Stars bench for the very first time. Though Dallas had struggled to find success in the years following their 2020 Stanley Cup Finals run, DeBoer would breathe new life into the Stars seemingly overnight. Thanks to DeBoer's coaching style, superstar production from Jason Robertson, as well as outstanding goaltending from Jake Ottinger, Dallas would finish second in the Central Division thanks to their 47-21-14 record for 108 points in 82 games. Not only did this performance put the Stars only a single point below the division-leading Colorado Avalanche, these stats marked a career year for DeBoer, as he recorded the most points and the second most wins of his NHL coaching career during his 15th season in the league. Better late than never, right guys? As Dallas returned to the playoffs for the second time in 3 seasons, and with them falling in the first round during their trip last year, DeBoer and the Stars would fare far better this time around. Thanks to a Game 6 victory against Minnesota in Round 1 and a 7-game series against Seattle in Round 2, Dallas would reach the Western Conference Finals for the second time in the last 4 seasons. And who would they face in the Final Four? Well, none other than Pete DeBoer's old team, the Vegas Golden Knights. Though Vegas had fallen in the penultimate round in consecutive seasons under DeBoer, and though Dallas had made it all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals during their prior trip this far, the DeBoer curse would strike yet again. Despite several close contests early in the series, and despite avoiding elimination on several occasions, Dallas would eventually fall to Vegas in the penultimate round, thanks to a 6-0 victory in Game 6 of the series. Oh, and to add further salt into the wound, 3 of the 6 games ended up going to overtime, and Dallas won only 1 of them, just like DeBoer's run with Vegas 2 years prior. Damn, he really can't catch a break, can he? So thanks to his Game 6 loss to Vegas, Pete DeBoer has been eliminated in the Western Conference Finals 4 times in the last 5 seasons. In each of his playoff runs for the last half a decade, DeBoer has fallen in the penultimate round every single time. If that's not a curse, I don't know what is, folks. To make matters even worse though, DeBoer has somehow managed to achieve this feat while coaching 3 different NHL teams, as he lost with the San Jose Sharks in 2019, the Vegas Golden Knights in 2020 and 2021, as well as the Dallas Stars in 2023. Even when he moves to a completely different state, Pete DeBoer still can't escape his curse. That said, where some see a curse, others might see a blessing, as DeBoer has earned quite the reputation in spite of his premature exits. After all, the guy made 2 finals appearances earlier in his career, he has a lengthy track record of winning hockey games, and he has taken teams deep into the playoffs on a pretty consistent basis. NHL franchises have been quick to hire him whenever he's been let go, so he must be doing something right. However, for all the regular season success and for all the postseason runs, DeBoer has never gone all the way and gotten his hands on the cup, which must really suck given how close he's gotten on numerous occasions. So what happens now? Where does Pete DeBoer go from here? Well, given that he will return to the Stars for the upcoming 23-24 NHL season, and given that Dallas made some pretty impressive additions with very little subtractions during the 2023 offseason, I would be shocked if they didn't punch their ticket to the 2024 Stanley Cup playoffs. However, what happens from there is anyone's guess, as we all know the postseason is as unpredictable as it gets. Just look at this past playoffs, nothing is guaranteed, records or not. Whether they fail to reach the playoffs, they bow out in an earlier round, or they end up winning it all, here's hoping that the curse is finally lifted and Pete DeBoer doesn't lose in the Western Conference Finals. I don't think he could take a 5th loss in 6 years, do you? And on that note, I'm going to end today's video. That was a look at Pete DeBoer's Conference Finals curse. What do you guys think about DeBoer's career as a coach, or his recent string of bad luck? Do you think he will break this curse sooner rather than later, or will it continue for many years to come? Do let me know in the comments below, I would love to hear what you guys have to say, but thank you very much for watching guys, I do hope you have enjoyed. Please feel free to like, subscribe, share, watch some of my other videos. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye! A big thank you to Bexy93, Burned Retinas, Drew Fawcett, Houston NG, Raquel and Worthless Pieces for helping support this video via Patreon. If you too want to help support the channel a little bit further and get a shout out at the end of every future video, make sure you head over to patreon.com/oddmanrush and become a patron today.